to Expertly Unqualified, the podcast where we confidently tackle topics we have zero business discussing, but do it anyway. I'm Holly.
And I'm Caroline.
And if you've ever judged someone based on their coffee order, you're already one of us.
Last week, we spilled the beans literally on what your morning caffeine choice really says about you. And this week, we're flipping the script. We've all had them. The customer who makes you question your entire career. The one who thinks the customer is always right is a personality trait. Today, we're diving into the worst customers we've ever had to deal with because customer service trauma is best shared publicly, right? So grab your coffee and let's get into it. Well, welcome back. We're so excited to have you guys back again. If you missed last week's episode, we went over what your coffee order says about you. So hopefully you found that entertaining. If we didn't go over any of the drinks that you usually order, definitely leave us a comment and we'll get back to you on what that order says about you. Oh my goodness. All right, well, we decided to do worst customers. We have a lot of stories.
Oh, yes, we do.
We almost have too many stories.
We definitely had to condense it down a lot.
We did. We had to pick and choose. One of the good things about being a barista is you remember everybody. One of the bad things is you remember everybody. Hopefully, if you've never worked as a barista, but maybe worked in customer service, you can understand where we're coming from. So today, we decided to break it down into two different topics. We're going to start with some drive-thru etiquette and talk about all the worst customers that come through the drive-thru, because there's a lot of them.
All right, let's begin.
Oh, gosh.
So, drive-thru etiquette. So, a lot of people don't always realize how their actions affect others.
Oh my gosh, that's an understatement.
So one of the biggest ones I've noticed is turning your wipers off when it's raining.
Yes, you want to make sure your wipers are turned off when it's raining because if you have them on, we get splashed right at the drive-thru. We already don't want to be working drive-thru. When you're in the drive-thru, do not park too far away from the window. I understand you might have a short car, you might have a really big car. Don't park far away from the window. These poor baristas who are 5 foot something have to freaking like Superman out the window just to hand you your drink.
I've seen so many baristas have to do a full plank just to be able to hand something out. Especially if you have those little like T-Rex arms where you just flop your hand
out.
Oh my gosh.
I was lucky enough, I was tall enough to basically just reach out the window. But some of my other coworkers who felt so bad when they had to reach out the window when the car was super far away.
The store we've worked at, I've seen some people have to get a stool out too.
Oh my gosh. I haven't seen that. Well, let's just dive into some customers.
So there's two different types of bad customers. There's people who order things that are just so memorable, and there's people who just do things that are just so memorable.
Right. So you can be a really nice person, but have a ridiculous order, and then we're like, we don't want to deal with you. Or you could be a not so nice person and have an easy order and we still don't want to deal with you.
Oh, seriously.
We don't know your first name or last name usually, or maybe the first name, but if anything, we just call you by what you order and people will understand. If you text in a barista group chat and say, hey, do you know Cheese Danish Lady? They're going to be like, yes, we do.
Some of the nicknames get really creative too, like Angry Chai Guy.
Yep, we'll talk about him later.
Oh, yeah.
So let's talk about Cheese Danish Lady. So this lady would come in the mornings pretty often and would order a cheese Danish and a tall strawberry acai with dragon fruit inclusion pieces. Every time she would come through the drive-thru, she had some sort of complaint. Her cheese Danish wasn't warm enough, there was too much ice in her drink, there weren't enough inclusions. You name it, she probably complained about it. Obviously, if what you ordered isn't what you got, you can say something. 99% of the time, if you say like, hey, I think this was made wrong, or can you adjust this, or can you add that? I mean, we're more than likely going to fix it. I mean, we basically have to fix it. But to come every single day and complain every single time, if you don't like the food that we're serving or the drinks we're making, go find a different store. The store that we worked at, I think, had about 5 different stores within 10 minutes of that store.
So, most people who consistently have problems at a restaurant will just stop going there.
That would be the the smart thing to do.
Because, I know accidents do happen, but if it's just like constant, why do you just keep going back just to scream at them?
I don't know. Well, okay, so not only did she complain every day, on a particular day, I was working Christmas Eve. I wasn't even working the window, but she came through the drive-thru, had another complaint. My manager went over to talk to her through the drive-thru window. This customer starts screaming at my manager. I don't even know what she was saying, but she was so loud that all of the customers in the cafe turned and looked at the drive-thru to see what was happening. And everyone was just shocked that someone, especially on Christmas Eve, but why would you yell at somebody through the drive-thru? That's not a communication style. No.
Definitely not. And I work at a different Starbucks now too, and she's even tried scamming at that Starbucks, so it's not even just like she has a problem with that one particular Starbucks. It's just everyone, you know? It's everyone.
Oh my gosh. Well, one of my top stories that I love telling because I'm so scarred from it was this lady who I call the cappuccino lady. If you don't know what a cappuccino is, it is shots of espresso with foamed milk. So there's more foam than really just like warm milk, like what a latte would be. And if you make it really well, the cup itself is going to be super light because you're just paying for foam. You're basically paying for air. Caffeinated air. So this one lady came through the drive-thru and ordered a cappuccino, extra dry, so basically all foam, no warm milk, and added a pump of mocha. So mocha would add some weight because it is pretty thick. So she comes to the drive-thru. It doesn't help. She's in a giant pickup truck. So when she gets through the window, she is staring down at me. So I already feel small. And then I go to hand her her drink. She holds it, doesn't even try it. She's holding it. She goes, "No, that's not right." And I'm like, what? You're basing how good your cup of coffee is going to be on the weight of your cup? What? Not even a sip. I said, okay, I'll go ahead and remake it. So I remade it again. And this time, when you make a cappuccino, if you want to make it super light, you can use a spoon and literally spoon the foam into the cup. Again, just more air that you're paying for, but that's what she wanted. So I remade it. I handed it to her again. She came back with, "No, it's still not right." I wish the drive-thru was crowded at this time. I was like, okay, I'll go remake it. I remade it for a third time. She finally takes it and she goes, "I guess this will do."
Not even a thank you.
No thank yous, nothing. It was just, "I guess this will do."
So I've had to help her before too, and the first thing is the baristas out here will know. She would order a 20-ounce cappuccino. You have to steam multiple pitchers of milk to get that much milk foam. So it takes honestly a while every time you remake it, and then just like spoon just the foam into her cup. Usually, like at least where we worked, if we got the outside of the cup sticky, we would just double cup it.
Yeah, no one wants a sticky cup. We don't want to remake it again, so.
And she would order mocha in it too. So there's like a couple times we got mocha sauce on the outside of the cup. We just double cup it so it wasn't sticky. And we would hand it to her and she'd go, "No, too heavy." And I would take the same drink, made the same exact way. I would take off the second cup, hand it to her, and she said, "Ah, yes, you made it perfect this time." It was the same drink both times.
So note to self, just make your cappuccino at home or don't complain about the weight of the cup, because that is ridiculous. Another ridiculous lady that I have a whole list. Hallie has a whole list. That's what we're reading off to the side. A lady would come through the drive-thru and order a venti hot Americano with 2 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream. And she would repeat multiple times, "Can you make sure the barista knows I would like 2 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream, nothing more." When you order through a drive-thru, everyone wearing a headset can hear exactly what you're ordering. We can also hear your music. We can hear your phone calls. We can hear you screaming at your kids in the back. So we would make sure we put 2 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream. And then if you're at the drive-thru and you're handing her her cup, she would say, "Is there only 2 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream?" I said, "Yeah." And then one time, didn't you have to help her? And then you literally put 2 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream in the cup in front of her, and she still didn't like that?
So we have pour-over setups. So we had a tablespoon measuring spoon. So one time she returned her drink and she said, "No, I wanted 2 tablespoons. This isn't 2 tablespoons." So I said, "I have a tablespoon right here." And I measured 2 tablespoons in front of her. And then she looked at me so offended and so angrily. She did accept it, but she was not very happy about it.
Why do you have to get so specific with that? Okay, there's a few more drive-thru etiquette that we have to get through. My dad tells a lot of dad jokes, so I hear them all the time. We don't want to hear dad jokes when we've already worked a really long day and you're coming through the drive-thru asking us the coffee free. No, it's not. It is not. Can I get you anything else? How about $1 million? How about you get me $1 million?
$1 million?
Come on. We're just trying to make a living. We're just trying to get through the day. And then you think your jokes are funny.
If you have an original joke, it's appreciated.
Yeah.
Just not the same ones
over
50 times
and over
a day.
Again. So don't do that.
On drive-thru etiquette, we have to mention smoking.
Yes.
So please don't smoke in the drive-thru. At least in our state, it's illegal to smoke cigarettes or anything else for that matter in drive-thru windows. They're legally considered an entrance to the building. But even if it's not illegal, the baristas don't want to smell your secondhand smoke. And they also don't want it blown inside. Also, I've had a few customers quite literally blow their smoke in through the windows. And it just smells like smoke for 10 minutes after. I have one memorable story. We had a regular who would smoke in the drive-thru pretty regularly. And one summer we had a drought, and there's in a lot of drive-thrus, there's landscaping. So we had little bushes. So he threw his lit cigarette out of his window. He didn't put it out first. He threw it in a bush. And because it was in the middle of a drought, it caught the bush and the mulch around the bush on fire.
Oh my gosh.
I had been working a pretty long shift that day, and I hadn't had anything to eat, and I was taking my lunch break at 4 p.m. So I was finally about to eat my first sandwich of the day, and I just heard screaming, "Holly, Holly, Holly, come look at this!" I went outside, and I saw that he lit a bush on fire.
Oh my gosh.
So I had to grab the fire extinguisher and put it out, in the drive-thru lane with customers around me. And I also learned a valuable lesson. I was talking to my coworkers at the time, and I was using the fire extinguisher in the wind. So if you have to use a fire extinguisher, make sure your mouth is closed, because I got the extinguisher dust in my mouth.
Oh my gosh,
it
that would be
tasted
terrible.
So bad.
Oh gosh. You never thought you would have to be a firefighter
as a barista. But that day was just a perfect storm.
Gosh. Well, not as bad as that, but still just as annoying. Don't be on a phone call while you're trying to pick up your drinks, okay?
Oh, yeah.
You can pause the phone call, but it's just so annoying when you're like, "Oh, hey, how are you?" And then it's I can't talk right now. I'm on the phone. Or even when you pull up to the drive-thru and you don't have the app ready on your phone or money ready. Sometimes in the morning, we're trying to get a specific time from when you order to when you get your drink. We're trying to cut that time down. So you taking forever is just not going to make baristas happy. Additionally, things that will piss off a barista. Do not mobile order while you're in the drive-thru, okay? We've had so many people, and it's not just people who order one drink. It's always the people who order 4 different drinks and 5 different food items. They mobile order right as they pull into the drive-thru, and then they come to the window, and then they're like, "Hey, I mobile ordered." And I'm like, "When did you mobile order?" "Oh, 30 seconds ago?" You think we're going to be able to make all those drinks 30 seconds ago?
And don't just do that at Starbucks. Try not to do that anywhere, because some restaurants even have separate kitchens or a separate person that makes all of the mobile orders. And they have to dig through tickets to find yours, and it generally just makes everything slower, including you getting your order.
Right. And the Starbucks app is nice where it will tell you, "Hey, we're preparing it right now. Hey, it will be ready in 4 to 7 minutes. Hey, it's ready now." Obviously, you don't have to wait until 7 minutes to go pick up your drink, but give us at least a little bit of time. That was just, that will put you in a bad mood. You're like, come on.
Oh, seriously?
Don't get upset at us that the store is either not open yet or is already closed. Say the store I worked at, I forget, it closes at 8:30. Someone came through the drive-thru about 8:31, and they were so mad that that we had closed. Just go find another one down the street. It's not our fault.
Both of us have worked a lot of opening and closing shifts too, so for both, it's usually dark before open and after close. So some people will like knock on the glass.
That's so scary when you're not ready for it. And who's trying to break in?
Like sometimes you'll expect people to like go up to the front door, but if they can't get your attention, they'll start casing around the store.
I forgot about the people who would go to the drive-thru window, and then you try to just not make eye contact because you're like, sorry, we're closed.
And then sometimes you just be minding your own business, doing your own work, and you just hear like thonking on the drive-thru window.
Oh my gosh.
So in the past year or so, we closed. The store closes earlier than other stores in the district. So we had a person come by and they kept going through the drive-thru and up to the front door. And it was obviously closed. There was a sign that said closed. But he decided to just like go up to the drive-thru window and start like knocking on the window, screaming, straw, I want a straw.
He just wanted a straw?
It was like loud enough to kind of scare us. Honestly, if he wasn't scaring us, we probably would have given him a straw, but we just didn't engage, and he ended up throwing his drink at the window. And we have the sippy cups now too, so he had like a grande iced latte. So
that's something you don't even need a straw for. You give it a nice little, a little shake, you know, and then.
So he didn't need a straw to drink his drink, but he just kept screaming.
If it was a frappuccino, maybe I could.
Yeah. He didn't get to drink that drink at all, though.
Well, okay, so I think that was drive-thru etiquette. Just a few things. When you mobile order, give us some time to make your order. Don't park too far away from the window. Turn off your windshield wipers. Don't be on a phone call. Don't smoke. Did I miss anything else? Just common sense, you would think.
Yeah, like most people would think all of this is common sense. If you're generally not allowed to do anything inside of a restaurant, don't do it in a drive-thru either.
And yelling at a manager is not a form of communication, so...
Oh no.
Nope. So just learn that lesson now, and then you won't have to deal with it. But now let's dive into... So we did drive-thru etiquette. How about in-cafe etiquette? I bet you have a couple of stories, Holly.
Oh, yes. So we could start with... Do you want to do Angry Chai Guy?
Yeah, well, you know more about Angry Chai Guy. I've only heard stories.
Okay, so this man has multiple different nicknames. Basically, he wants an iced chai latte, and I think he watched a lot of James Bond because he would always order it shaken, not stirred, or extra shaken. So if anyone's familiar with milk, when you shake it, it foams a lot. So basically, he wanted no foam in a shaken iced chai latte.
Iced chais normally don't come shaken.
No.
It's milk with ice and chai in a cup. Here you go 3 seconds later because they're so fast to make.
So he would specify a specific amount of pumps of chai he wanted, which was extra, and a specific kind of milk, and then he would just watch you to shake it if he was inside the cafe. And then afterwards, he would want you to use a spoon to scoop out all of the little bubbles it created, and then add 6 ice cubes at the end. And if you made a mistake, he would scream and scream and scream.
What?
And the worst part is that he learned that he liked that drink that way, but the store who made it right didn't make it how he wanted it to, because they didn't shake it, so there was no bubbles.
So he ordered it differently than what he received, but he liked what he received instead of how he ordered it?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. In what world would you ever walk up to somebody working in customer service and say, I need these 8 specific things for my drink? I wouldn't be able to do it. I have a hard time telling somebody when the drink is made wrong, hey, I didn't order this, or hey, it's missing this. I don't say anything.
Some people are just really strange about hating foam in their drinks, and I think that coffee shops might not be the right place to get these because we use steam ones and it adds foam. But anyway, I had a customer once who, there's a specific name for the phobia of circles. I don't remember what it is. You can comment if you remember. So he would come in and order a black coffee and he would say, I don't like the circles up top. I want you to get rid of the circles. I had no idea what he meant. So when you pour black coffee or this like liquid, there'll just be kind of like bubbles at the top. So he would have me scoop out all the bubbles and pop all the bubbles because he didn't like looking at the bubbles.
I'm sorry, but he was fine drinking out of a round cup and
Yeah.
a round lid.
Yes. But he would just say that he had the fear of circles, so he couldn't have any bubbles on the top of his black coffee.
Oh my gosh. You know what I totally forgot about? Was I have such a long list that it just keeps going. Oh, okay. Well, I have a few more to add on. We're not garbage men and women, so don't ask us while you're in the drive-thru to throw out your garbage from the past week. Legally cannot accept anything back through the drive-thru window. We don't want to touch your trash. Just hold on to it until you get to wherever you're going and throw it out. Another thing that bothers both customers and baristas is when you decide to make your own parking spot in the parking lot. We would have this one guy, again, nice guy, but oh my gosh, he drove this big truck and would just make his own parking spot. It really wasn't that far to go to the additional parking lot. And he would block basically the whole drive-thru, and then people who parked and they were in cafe and trying to leave, they couldn't leave because he was parked there. So don't do that.
Also, remember, most of these stores get deliveries and have designated places for the trucks to park that don't block people's cars. So you can even just ask, where can I park my large truck? And a manager will probably tell you where you can park it without blocking anyone. Yeah. It's always the worst when you get off shift or you have to go to school or do something else and you're just stuck in the parking lot because someone's blocking in your car.
That's the worst. But almost as bad as when a barista is handing you a cup of coffee, okay? We're either going to hold it at the bottom so you grab it from the top, or we'll hold it from the top so you grab it from the bottom. But some people don't understand that. So then your hand is touching the customer's hand and it's just like, I don't need that right now. So just be aware of where you're grabbing the cup because it's not fun.
So Caroline's really not exaggerating. A lot of people, even other women will just think that it's okay to touch your hands, and it just makes us very uncomfortable. And especially, I've had some men full on interlace fingers with me when I hand them their cup, and it's just.
I would be washing my hands right after.
I'm good.
Oh, okay. We have a lot of drive-thru etiquette. We should just name this the whole drive-thru. Okay. If you have a very specific order and you're a regular, please still give us your full order. Not just come through the drive-thru and be like, hey, it's me, and then drive forward. We had this one customer who was very nice, but had a very specific order. And yes, I've been away from the Starbucks for probably a year and a half, and I still remember it. It was a tall, hot blonde coffee in a venti cup, double cupped, steamed half and half, mostly foam, 4 raw sugars, with a sleeve, stir sticks. She wanted it stirred too, I believe.
Yes.
And then napkins on the side. And then a couple extra raw sugars on the side.
Perfect.
Don't come through the drive-thru and be like, it's me. We're not going to know who you are, honey.
And it's always so terrifying just having to go up and confront them being like, I don't know what your order is. Please, can you tell me?
Or sometimes I would be working, I wasn't on drive-thru, and then I would have to tell the person who was on drive-thru, okay, here's what you need to type in, and it just takes forever to type that all in.
Not saying that regulars don't need to tell us their orders, but especially don't do that if you're not a regular, because we'll make you anything you want, but you need to either verbally or written communicate it to us.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's written down on a piece of paper or Google Translate, but
we can't assume what you want.
Yeah, because we're never going to get it right. Mm-hmm. And it's just frustrating to just keep remaking it, guessing until we guess correct rather than you just tell us.
Right. But diving back into in-cafe etiquette, people who order carafes of coffee during peak, there's a special place in hell for you. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Okay, if you don't know what a carafe is, it's one of those giant boxes of coffee. I think we figured it's 96 ounces of coffee or something. You get 8 or 10 cups. You can, bring it to your corporate party at home, whatever. If you order one of those during peak, which is our busiest time of the day, it takes up one whole roaster, so we can't even get hot coffee from that. Plus, it takes one person away from whatever job they were doing because it takes so much time to brew it, to grab all the cups and the cream and the sugar. So here's what you're going to do if you need a carafe of coffee. You're going to call the store the day before you need it and say, hey, can I get a carafe of coffee? I'll come in tomorrow at 9 a.m. to pick it up. Lovely. We would love to do that for you. Just give us a note ahead of time so that we can be prepared and not angry when you order 4 carafes in the morning and we're crying because we have to figure out how to make them up.
And just keep that in mind with any kind of catering too, because anywhere you go, they're going to really appreciate if you call even just 12 hours in advance, or even just a few hours in advance.
Yeah, even a few hours.
Just to like get everything ready, because they can prep it beforehand. But like, people will do the same thing with ordering like 30 to 50 pastries for corporate meetings or parties, where we could have ordered more like 2 days before and then not have you get frustrated, because sometimes we don't even have the craft boxes.
Right. Sometimes we don't have the stuff to make it.
Yeah.
So it pays dividends to call the store and just make sure everything's there.
And then more on cafe etiquette. It is a shared space, so you have to kind of keep every other customer in mind when you are there, because a lot of people will just treat it like their own personal office or personal home, where they'll play extremely loud music, or they'll ask us to turn off all the music so that you can take a conference call, or they'll be loud. But in general, just try to remember that you're not the only customer, because one of the hardest things for any of us to do is to mediate between 2 different customers that are arguing, because there's not really any right choice most of the time.
Yeah, that's a great point. Another good point would be Uber Eats. I don't understand why somebody would Uber Eats 1 cake pop, or just an oatmeal packet not even made, or whatever. Uber Eats people picking up while you're on bar. They are bringing their phone and shoving it in your face. They're like, I have an Uber Eats pickup for this person. You're like, oh my god, just go down to the end of the counter and he'll be there. Don't bother me on bar.
Because they will specifically look for just the first person that makes eye contact with them. Yeah. Even if there's a front register or a designated order pickup place, they won't go there. They'll just go to find the first person they see and just...
I think one of my favorites is when we go to put the drink or food on the end of the counter for people to pick up. And I love it when Joe orders like a black coffee and you put down a Frappuccino and then he looks at you and says, is that mine? What? Does it look like a hot coffee? I don't think so. Does it have your name on the cup? I don't think so.
Oh, especially when they tell you that you got their name wrong too. And there's more people in the cafe. So he'll just pick it up and just see a caramel frappuccino for Angela. He'll say, you got my drink wrong and you got my name wrong. No, there's just someone else there.
Oh my gosh. That one makes me laugh when that happens. Another thing that makes me laugh is when a junior high kid will come up to me at register and ask, hey, I've got $2.30. What can I get for that? Fortunately, not much. I say you can get a smile. We also don't know why the prices are so high, so we can't help that. So don't ask us, wow, that's pretty expensive. Why so expensive? We don't know.
None of us can have any influence over that.
Yeah.
So more on handoff planes. So at most fast food restaurants or fast casual restaurants, they'll have somewhere where you pick up your food. So especially if there's open tables, please don't eat where they hand off food, because it's just kind of gross. I've seen it happen quite a lot over the years, where people will just start eating their sandwich and drinking their drink, but then drip over other people's food and we have to remake it. Just like try to be conscious of other people's things while you're there.
Okay, well, just like last week's episode, we're always going to end with an unqualified rant and unqualified advice. So, the rant I have for this week, again, the rants can be something related to the topic or not, and I decided to relate it to the topic. It is not your barista's fault or customer services person's fault if you're late to work, to a meeting, to church, to pick up your kids from after school, to drop your kids off at their game. It is not our fault. we can't help it sometimes if we get slammed. Maybe we're short a few people. Maybe we ran out of stuff. We're not trying to make your life harder, and we're not trying to purposely take a lot of time, but just plan some extra time and have some patience, and then it should be good. You should be able to be on your merry way, and a drink you're enjoying, you got some caffeine going. You just gotta be nice to people and give us time. Have patience.
There's some kind of saying, a lack of planning on your part does not constitute an emergency on ours. Some people will just straight up come in and say, I'm already late to work. There's no line. They just came to Starbucks late to work. So I need my drink ready immediately. I mean, it's not our fault if you showed up already late to work. And also remember, all of us are also working too. Some of us even get food before coming to Starbucks, like to our shifts. It sounds hilarious, but some of our coworkers would go to 24-hour Dunkin' Donuts on their way to open. I know. So we can't say, oh yeah, I'm sorry I'm late. McDonald's was taking forever. We'll get written up.
Yeah. That brings us to our expert advice. I have two, actually. So if you didn't know this, the order, the way the drinks are made is we always do drive-thru drinks first. So if you're in a rush, go through the drive-thru. It's actually going to be pretty quick. Even if the line looks pretty long, it's going to be pretty quick. And then we do, depending on the pace of things, in cafe and mobile orders. But the fastest will be drive-thru. In addition, if you're in the cafe, this has been a thing for a while, but if you're in the cafe and you need a refill, you can get a refill. You don't have to pay for it, which is awesome. I believe the refill now only works for hot or iced coffee, but that's a great deal. You sit in the cafe for a little bit, you can get a nice refill, you can get more bang for your buck, and you should be good. All right, well, that wraps up this episode. Thank you so much for listening.
Thanks so much for listening again, and hope to see you guys next week.
Yes, see you next week is going to be fun. We're going to have a Father's Day special. I don't think you're ready for it, but stay tuned.
All right, that's a wrap on our episode of Expertly Unqualified. If you stuck around this long,
you're either extremely loyal, extremely bored, or extremely caffeinated. Either way, we love that for you.
Make sure to follow us wherever you get your podcasts and leave a review if you laughed, related, or were personally attacked by something we said. Find new episodes and more on our website, thepodmates.com.
And don't forget, follow us on Instagram and YouTube at Expertly Unqualified. Send us your stories, questions, or weird hot takes. You might just hear them on a future episode.
We are, as always,
Expertly Unqualified. Conversation's so fun, you'll forget we have no idea what we're doing.
This was a Podmates production.